All right, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily and Also Curious. Well, I'm back. Is this thing on? Yeah, I think it's on. If you don't know who I am, of course, I'm your host, Daniel. On today's show, we have a lot to get into. Right off the top, we're going to be talking about the big news of the day in the world of Hollywood and the world of television, media in general. Jimmy Kimmel, of course, returning in just hours from now for his first show back since suspension by ABC. We'll get into the what, where, who's, and hows of all of that. Of course, this is DCU Daily. We cannot not talk about DC, so we'll be getting to a lot of the Batman and Superman news that is out there. Matt Reeves gives us an update. Is he still going to do a trilogy of the Batman movies? Is the epic crime saga still going to last long enough to be a trilogy's worth of films? And James Gunn, of course, dropping probably an even bigger leak, depending on if you're a fan of Marvel or DC, of course, then what Avengers... We're going to have a look at Avengers costumes for Doomsday, but also James Gunn's big news is Man of Tomorrow going to feature Brainiac. We'll talk about that. And of course, the Mandalorian and Grogu dropped their first teaser trailer. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it ugly? John is here to give us his thoughts on that. And of course, how can we not mention that the great Sir Nolan is now in charge of all the directors? He has been elected the president of the DGA. And amongst some of the other new officers, we've got a few other big names, like a Ron Howard, maybe. We'll talk about that and so much more on the show. So let's get this started with, of course, as we always do, with the news intro. And then I'll bring John in and we'll dive into all and probably even more topics.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Cole's.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow! Wow!
All right. Okay. Well, I didn't even mention the fact that we have to talk about Tom Holland's injury on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day. What's up with that? Is he okay? We'll talk about that and so much more. To do that with me today, as always, and usually of late, not even me, is usually John. How are you?
There
doing,
we go.
John?
There we go. Now much better. I'm always on the right. I am the right dude. Who's the right dude now? John. I have a scone. I'm gonna eat a scone, but I'm here. I'm tired, but I'm ready to do this. Probably telling the bags under my eyes how fucking tired I am, but
I hear you, man. I'm still in a bit of a temporary setup, and because my office space where
Well, I think the purple
it's not quite
works for the rest of the
Yeah,
show.
it
He's in
does. I hope so.
so curious mood. He turned himself purple just for the show. Or
Believe it or not, this is less purple than it was when I first was doing some testing.
you have an
with John.
infinity gauntlet that you can like wear.
I have gloves somewhere. I'm sure I'll find one. I'll find it. I'll have to do it myself. All right. Well, we have a few people in the live chat right now. Anthony, Emo Nerd Girl, of course. Just Some Geeky Guy. Thank you for coming in hot with the super chat saying praise Lord Rao. I think you spelled it with a U instead of an O, but that's all right. For Brainiac is coming. Yes, praise Lord Rao indeed. We will talk about that in detail. That is the main event of the show today, so you're gonna have to stick around. But I'm sure we'll get into that and so much more.
If DC doesn't get bought out by Netflix, we'll be getting that in 2027. But don't hold your breath.
Or NBC Universal, or aka Comcast, or potentially Paramount Skydance. We'll see. We will see. But before we get to that,
of course, we're finally getting Brainiac in a movie, and then the universe is just like, nope, we will never see Brainiac in a goddamn feature film.
I don't think it's gonna get canceled. I bet you James Gunn is gonna get that. Well, you see, he's already getting that project off the ground. So we'll talk about that soon. We're gonna start the show.
I agree. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry.
Apple. You know what? Apple could work too, but they might also sell them off for parts. Hey, D Cole. Yes, Jimmy Kimmel has returned. D Cole, thank you for bringing that in because that is going to be where we'll start the show in terms of the news.
Boom.
It was breaking news earlier today, and well, it's been a few hours now, so it's official. As you guys probably heard, Jimmy Kimmel is back, at least in the capacity that they will allow him to. I suppose we will get into the veracity of what's to come. Is there going to be a different version of Jimmy Kimmel Live? Is it going to be as unfiltered? Well, I guess as unfiltered as he was
It would be
before, which caused
funny
the
if,
problem.
like, for the
But
opening
we'll
monologue, he just walked out and he was in like a prison uniform with handcuffs,
see.
and then he just really went unfiltered. But I don't think he would
It's
be allowed
you know
to do
what?
that.
If it was John Oliver or hey, look, if it was John Stewart already did his big
Yeah.
one with that on his show. I was just watching that on YouTube the other day. But anyway, I didn't get a chance to finish watching it, but it was exactly and more than what I expected. But getting back to Jimmy Kimmel, the news is that he's back. ABC has ended his suspension starting Tuesday. If I remember correctly, Jimmy Kimmel Live doesn't air on Fridays, so I guess that means there's going to be a 3-episode week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll get into the
Mhm.
details later on, but the big news is he's back. Disney's put out a statement, John. I think we caught this news across all the different outlets. You got the Hollywood
Mhm.
Reporter talking about it, and there's a statement on Deadline as well, mentioning it. If you scroll down here a little bit, we can read this out. We don't
Damn
need
it, Deadline! Get the hell
alerts.
out of here.
So they mentioned, ABC mentioned in their press release, saying there were thoughtful conversations that happened, and a Disney spokesperson said, and if you zoom into this, John, it mentions here, and this is directly from the Disney spokesperson when they announced the news, saying last Wednesday we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. John, just the initial reaction to this, you can scroll back up to the image for the time being, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about this being literally just a week? Not even was it a full week even that he was off the air? I mean, and
6
quite
days.
frankly, 6 days. I mean, and like I said, he doesn't even do a Friday show, so I guess we only missed him for 3 or 4 days. But there was enough of an uproar, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. What are your thoughts on this? Clearly, the statement feels like Disney, ABC are trying,
Typical PR stuff.
like get out of this as cleanly as possible. I mean, I don't think there's such a thing. But what do you think about the news?
Now, as we mentioned many times about this was a very nuanced sort of thing. It's not totally cut and dry because you could take it as an impeachment of free speech, what he said and whatnot. Um, however, it could also be seen as a it could also just be seen as consequences for your actions. I think a limited suspension works. Like, hey, don't speak ill of the dead, no matter in what capacity. Don't do that again. I think people went a little bit crazy with it, and we're going to be getting into that soon enough. Boycotts and deleting Disney Plus subscriptions. I think that was a bit much. I think maybe at the time, like, just people were kind of just filled with rage and anger, and they didn't know where to spill it, and they just kind of said a lot of things that didn't make sense, even on the show. Everything, we haven't said the right thing in the right time, and we have said things later like, "Hey, yeah, maybe we, shouldn't have said that," or it didn't seem timed properly, and then like, "Yeah, you know what? Whatever we said last week, 2 weeks ago, not great, but let's kind of continue on." In terms of the reaction, not what Jimmy Kimmel said, the reaction itself to his suspension is what I mean. And I think it's just like a tough, weird time right now, and I think people just need to it's just nuanced. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a very nuanced situation, and we just gotta be careful of certain things and not say the wrong thing.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say. There's an argument to be made that making this an issue about free speech is nuanced in the sense that, look, ultimately Jimmy Kimmel was not saying this in a public space, in the sense that this was in a studio show that where he's paid to do this work, and so you can make the argument that free speech does not apply the same as it would if he was in just like I don't know, like in an open public space in Times Square, for example. But at the same time, I mean, it is kind of like a gray area, and so I for one think that this was definitely like a chilling effect, and based on the other series of events that have come before this, including like the 60 Minutes thing. We have, talked about that there's other instances, and the administration, clearly, the current one in the U.S., is not very friendly to criticism against them, which is essentially what free speech is all about. Having said all that, Jimmy Kimmel is back less than a week since he was taken off the air, suspended, and his show was preempted indefinitely at the time. Well, clearly indefinitely meant only 6 days. A lot of work was done behind the scenes to make this happen. Let's talk about, though, why maybe this happened today, because the pressure was on Disney in the 6 days leading up to this decision to basically bring him back on air, and he will be back pretty much a week since he went off the air.
We
400
appreciate that figure drawing. We appreciate that.
Yes. And absolutely, you guys can, if you have comments, if you have a lot to say about this, I'm sure you do, and you absolutely can definitely leave us a comment down below, and if you aren't able to fit it all in the chat, because I know there's more of a character limit in the chat. And Enterprising is here, so hello Enterprising. Figure drawing, of course, as well. And to be quite frank, figure drawing, yes, I think from what you're saying, Jimmy Kimmel did not say a whole hell of a lot that was, quite frankly, offensive or factually inaccurate. But we won't get into that, because that's more on the political side of things. We're talking about how this connects to the world of the movies and TV shows. And speaking of which, over 400 celebrities signed an open letter backing the return of Jimmy Kimmel, including Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, Jennifer Aniston, literally dozens and hundreds of other names that you've probably heard of. This was an open letter by the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, supporting free speech and condemning Disney's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live in the lead up to, of course, this decision, their decision being reversed, including, of course, other celebrities being Michael Keaton, Batman, of course, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Rachel, Regina King, Diego Luna, of course, from Andor, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Natalie Portman, Maya Rudolph, Martin Short, Kerry Washington, so many more. Jason Bateman. You could keep going. But John, that wasn't the only thing. Like, let's just go through some of these headlines talking about all the different ways in which Disney was being publicly pressured. Of course, a lot of politicians called for ABC to stand up for itself and sue the FCC, and a lot of legal experts were making the argument that if this was challenged in court, it would not hold up, and Disney would have a very easy win on its hands. And there's been arguments made like this is clearly the subtext of this was, and I was saying this last week, Nexstar and Tegna are trying to merge and basically go well above the 39% limit that a lot of local affiliates, well, basically the FCC has a rule in place since the early 2000s that no single company can own more than 39% of the affiliate stations, the local, ABC station in this case, that in your market, or in nationwide, I should say, and their total ownership, the new combined company between Nexstar and Tegna, would be well beyond the 39% limit. So basically, the rule was an anti-monopoly rule, and in order for this merger to go through, not only would the FCC need to approve it, but also need to change their rules. And so it seemed like the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, was implying very much in a mafia-like, if we could do this the easy way or the hard way, that we probably will not approve your merger, and that there's billions of dollars at stake there. And Disney, you could say made a business decision by taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Also, you could say they took him out of the line of fire. But I guess, that was maybe their thinking. Ultimately, that wasn't the case. You could clearly see here. John, let's keep on going here, because not only were the politicians calling for this, I mean, speaking of which, Zoran Mamdani, the presumed winner of what is usually a very Democratic leaning New York City mayoral race this fall, he did win the primary. He's potentially the next mayor of the biggest city in the country. He boycotted ABC's town hall over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. And if you keep going here, there were other people of note doing similar things, like Sarah McLachlan opted out of performing at ABC News's Lilith Fair documentary premiere in support of free speech. Then we keep going here. We get to Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. He's actually signed on to be in this upcoming Spider-Man movie that is currently filming. He warned that Disney, their stock price will drop a lot further if ABC cancels Jimmy Kimmel Live. Of course, Jimmy Kimmel Live had been suspended, not canceled, and the stock price had been affected by it. We keep going here. Of course, last week, She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany, was like, cancel your Disney Plus subscriptions, cancel Hulu, cancel ESPN. Andy Cohen went on to talk about how the Kimmel pause, the suspension, was equivalent to silencing your enemies, and it is considered un-American. I mean, he's also got his own late night show, Watch What Happens Live. So he was one of the last ones to speak out on this, one of the last late night show hosts. Then we keep going here, John. There's even more reactions. The View, they chose not to address it the day after the suspension, but then they later on went into to address it, saying that basically we didn't talk. We want to condemn it, and they mentioned why they didn't discuss it sooner. If you scroll down here, John, we have a quote here in the article. Whoopi Goldberg, of course, has been in the direct line of fire from the president over. I don't even know why. Who watches The View? But anyway,
middle-aged wine moms, essentially,
and clearly a few white dudes. But anyway, old white dudes with orange hair. But Whoopi Goldberg said, "Did y'all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? I mean, have you watched the show over the last 29 seasons? No one silences us." She did add that right after it happened, the show took a breath to see if Kimmel would make a public comment, which he didn't, and that's why they then spoke about it finally. So they said we were just waiting to see if Jimmy Kimmel was going to say something himself before we were going to address it on the show. But they did address it on the show, and they did, of course, say that it was the wrong thing to have suspended Jimmy Kimmel. Then we keep on going, John. The Mandalorian. Well, actually, did we skip ahead?
I don't think so. No. It's just.
Never mind. Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't read the headline.
We are going to talk about this later,
yes.
But in the comment section of the trailer we're talking about later, it's just like people being like, boycott Disney.
The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer got basically comment bombed by fans criticizing Disney for this, for what's going on. Because right now, everything around Disney, yes, there you go. Everything around Disney in the news cycle had to do with the Jimmy Kimmel. It's the whole, oh, this is great, but, or this sucks because, that's the sentiment. And you could tell that this was already a PR disaster, but now it's affecting actual projects that Disney is putting out there, and yeah. So we got Morkatna here. Hello, Morkatna. Yash is here, of course.
I'm just gonna say this little spoiler for my thoughts. You're being way too fucking kind with that comment. So
I thought you were gonna say generous, but kind of in the same.
Yeah, you're being way too kind with that.
All right.
Come on, Yash. You've been on this show for too
here.
long. You can go a little bit meaner than that. Just don't bring any racism shit like you usually do. Just you can go meaner with that. Come on now. Anyway, but
all good. We'll get into some of your takes. I love the fact that Cretrix Media has just seen the Smashing Machine and is amazed by it. That makes me look forward to it even more. Of course, John, after all that pressure publicly being applied by people who are either celebrities, politicians, or just regular old folk like us, Disney finally reinstated Jimmy Kimmel Live, and it clearly brought Jimmy Kimmel back from his suspension. Of course, there's reactions to this. The FCC commissioner and other politicians, all reacted to this in all the ways you can expect. The people on the blue side of the aisle, as it were glad to see Disney find their courage, as FCC's sole Democrat, Anna Gomez, said, although she may no longer be soon the sole Democrat on the FCC based on a new Supreme Court decision. But anyway, keep on going here. Brendan Carr did not react very positively, as you can imagine. The chairman of FCC, who kicked this whole thing off in the first place. Late night hosts reacted to Jimmy Kimmel's return. Our long national late nightmare is over. So there you go. Expectedly so. I'm sure there'll be more reactions tomorrow. Sinclair will, however, Sinclair being one of those affiliate owners. So Nexstar and Tegna are the other two we're talking about. Sinclair Broadcast Group is another big one that owns a lot of
Okay,
local
hang
ABC
on a
affiliates.
sec. No, you fucking didn't. We're diverging here. You did not say 650. We were all here. You said 600 million. You still owe us a super chat. Don't bullshit us. Do not bullshit us. You said 650. 600. You did not say 650. You said 600. We have the goddamn receipts. We can play the tape. Not right now because we don't know what episode it was, but we could play the goddamn tapes on the receipts. You have you saying 600. Do not go there. Anyway, sorry.
Cool.
Continue.
Cool. Well, as I was saying, Sinclair being one of those other, actually, they were one of the ones who came out and said that they were going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live after everything went down last week. And it seems like they haven't changed their policy. They will continue to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live when it returns to ABC tomorrow on Tuesday, or actually later today on Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this. And but they did also say that discussions are ongoing with ABC, the parent network, to see if they can maybe, I guess, change their mind. Now, having said all that, John, let's keep on going here to the last bit of news surrounding this story. Jimmy Kimmel return talks, of course, with Disney brass went down to the wire on Monday, according to Deadline. The quote here saying, Jimmy will say what Jimmy wants to say. That is in regards to what do we expect? Because, John, now that Jimmy Kimmel is back, one of the big reasons why the president was, basically talking about how this was a deserved suspension, other than the fact that it was, because of what Jimmy Kimmel said, was because he kept pointing out, the president did, that he has terrible ratings, deserve to be canceled. Well, John, I think you and I can both agree Jimmy Kimmel's ratings will no longer be terrible. He'll probably have the highest rated episode when it comes back on air tomorrow on Tuesday, because everybody will want to know what he will or will not say, because he hasn't said anything publicly since he was suspended and the show was taken off the air a week ago. So my question to you would be, based on what you see here from one of the Disney insiders, this is actually a source at Disney that Deadline spoke to, so they didn't tell us who, but this person said Jimmy will say what Jimmy wants to say. So the question becomes, what does Jimmy want to say? And my question to you, John, would be, what can we expect from probably what's going to be the highest rated late night episode of any kind, certainly Jimmy Kimmel Live, that we're going to see in just hours from now?
That's a great question. I think he's going to say something, but maybe not as something to the lengths of Jon Stewart. Just something extreme, but not too extreme. I will bring up the receipts. It's just we don't know when we made the receipts, so that's the.
We'll go dig. I'm sure we can figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, John, do you? Because I mean, again, I think this is going to be the biggest late night show of any kind tomorrow, because it's got national attention. Like, people don't watch late night TV. That is very much true, or certainly not as much as they used to. But I have a feeling they're going to be watching Jimmy Kimmel tomorrow. Like, it's not just going to be, people who, well, I guess they're older demographic, which watches it when it's live. I, for one, the only time I watch anything late night anywhere related is on YouTube after the fact. So yeah, this seems like it's not going to be one of those moments. So yes, by the way, Sinclair is where Ring of Honor used to air. I do remember that. Yep. By the way, Tegna and Nexstar, John, whereabouts we are in the Northeast, there's a lot of stations that they own that are like in the same state. Like, for example, they own like ABC stations and like a CBS station. So you're like, if they become one company, do they own two affiliates? How's that going to change? All that stuff. So basically that whole thing, now we don't know what the FCC is going to do, because are they going to just simply be like, sorry, Tegna, sorry, Nexstar? And if they continue to apply pressure, which they shouldn't, because that's not the FCC's job, but we've seen how the last week has played out. Maybe Disney, I don't know, maybe Disney takes further action down the road. I don't think this is over yet. I really don't think this is over yet. However, it's a good thing that Jimmy Kimmel is back, because it just did not look good for Disney. It really did not. So I think we can both agree, John, it's going to be interesting to see what that show looks like tomorrow, because we have seen like Jon Stewart, we have seen John Oliver, we have seen Jimmy Fallon, we have seen Andy Cohen. We have seen all the other late night show hosts address this issue head on or sort of sidestep it, or like Jimmy Fallon, for example, is always, sort of doing it in a way where he tries to make it funny but not really attack anything. He's not one to do political satire all that closely. Stephen Colbert, on the other hand, he's got nothing to lose at this point. So now it's Jimmy Kimmel's turn to address his own return, and we'll see what that turns into. You guys let us know in the comments. Are you happy, sad, confused, or any of the or something else about the whole Jimmy Kimmel Live situation? Are you going to be watching tomorrow when Jimmy Kimmel, or like I said, literally hours from now on Tuesday night, he returns? I mean, we might be live while he's live, for example. I mean, for all we know, given how late these shows have been going these days or starting. But we would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Of course, with that, we're going to move into the next part of the show. The next story that we have to get into is a pretty big one. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is big because it's all that's in the news right now. However, we're here to talk about the movies. And you know what? One of the best working directors, probably in my opinion, the best working director in, of course, the world today, in Hollywood, in the world of Hollywood, is Sir Christopher Nolan. And now he has been elected the president of the Directors Guild of America, the DGA. Of course, John, this is big news because Sir Christopher Nolan, I mean, he only needed to be a little bit busier. I mean, he has like a flip phone. He doesn't really use computers. He uses typewriters. The man literally gets to do whatever he wants. He's got the Kate Blanchett with the budget with Universal, as far as we're aware. And he's got a movie on the way, The Odyssey, that's, I think it's done filming now. And it's going to be coming out next year. So to add on top of his responsibilities, because maybe he doesn't have another movie lined up after that, he's decided that he would run for the DGA presidency, and he won. Of course, he is behind all the Dark Knight trilogy of movies. Oppenheimer, we don't need to go over his resume. We all know who he is. But now he is set to lead a union that has a 19,000 member base, John. And he's not the only one. If you go to the next article here, several other officers were elected into new roles, including Ron Howard. Of course, we don't need to go over his resume either. His name speaks for itself. As you can see here on Saturday, Laura Beasley, if you can zoom in a little bit, was also elected as the national vice president. Paris Borelli was reelected as the secretary treasurer. Todd Holland, not Tom Holland, Todd Holland was reelected as the first vice president. Ron Howard was the second vice president. Gina Prince Bythewood as the third vice president, and Seth Mann as the fourth vice president, with Millicent Shelton as the fifth vice president, Lily Olszewski as the sixth vice president, as Joyce and Joyce Thomas as the assistant secretary / treasurer. So basically, all the people that will be below Christopher Nolan's position. But the big news here, of course, is Christopher Nolan is the new DGA president, John. This comes on the heels of him, not on him, but Sean Astin becoming the new SAG-AFTRA president. So this is the directors union. Nolan had something to say. He actually had a nice statement about this. If you go down again here, he said, "This is one of the greatest honors of my career. Our industry is experiencing tremendous change, and I thank the Guild's membership for entrusting me with this responsibility. I also want to thank President Glatter for her leadership over the past 4 years, of course, the previous president. I look forward to collaborating with her and newly elected board to achieve important creative and economic protections for our members." The AMPTP, of course, the organization, the Academy of Motion Picture Television, that they, of course, put on the Oscars. They said that they were happy. Hi, Hunter Iggy. Monique is also here. Hello, Monique. So the AMPTP, of course, the folks behind the Oscars, they congratulated Christopher Nolan on his election as president of the DGA. We look forward to partnering with President Nolan, that has a ring to it, to address the issues most important to DGA members while ensuring our member companies remain competitive in a rapidly changing industry. So, John, Christopher Nolan has always championed the role of the director, and he's, of course, got some really sharp views about what filmmakers need and how they should go about their business. Of course, he's not telling anybody how to make their movies, but he's certainly been a voice for the theatrical industry. Like, movies should be made to be watched in a movie theater. If you scroll back to the top here, now that Sir Nolan is the president of the DGA, President Nolan. What do you
Sir
think he's
President Nolan?
Sir President Nolan, Sir President Dr. Nolan? No, Sir President Nolan. What do you think he's gonna do? What do you think he brings to the DGA that maybe was missing before? He's of course one of the most prolific directors of our generation, of any generation. He might be one of the best directors ever to make a movie in Hollywood or anywhere. So now that he is the president of the DGA being one of those organizations that actually they were a union, they figured out a contract with the studios a few years ago. They didn't have to go on strike. They are known to have their shit together in terms of like getting that stuff done. SAG-AFTRA went on strike, the WGA went on strike. We have seen still the effects of that kind of cascading into the movie calendar even in 2025. However, the DGA was not in that position. They got their stuff done, and here we are. Christopher Nolan now at the helm. John, what do you think he's got in mind as a DGA president? What do you think President Nolan has got in store for us as the DGA lead?
No CGI ever again. It's only going to be practical. From now on, it's only going to be practical. No more superhero movies, and everything has to have a budget of 100 million or less. I know that doesn't make any sense, but I thought it was funny.
Anyway. I like the comment, Mr. Sir Dr. Chris Nolan, LOL. Hi, Watcher, by the way. It is well earned, very well earned. The dude is a pure cinema director. He's going to make sure that integrity remains intact. I think that's the biggest thing, because I don't think since George Lucas, anybody has truly advanced. Well, I shouldn't say that. And nobody since George Lucas and James Cameron has anybody advocated an advanced cinema technology in terms of how we make movies the way Christopher Nolan has. He has basically created a market for IMAX cameras and movies shot in IMAX, not for IMAX, in IMAX. There was those huge cameras. He was the first one to do it. He's still like doing beta testing for new IMAX technology with every new movie. And he convinced, of course, Ryan Coogler to use that for parts of Sinners earlier. We saw the results. We saw the box office. And yeah, Christopher Nolan is very supportive of physical media, and Hollywood needs to make that a priority, like the Watcher said, because that will help them make more money, unlike what they've been doing now, which is just basically relying on streaming. So I hope we go back to doing more physical media, although I don't think the trend is going to change that quickly. I do think Christopher Nolan, as a filmmaker, he's got some really strong philosophies and ideas about how the movie industry should work. I think his movies tend to stay in theaters a lot longer, and he fully believes in the idea that people should go to watch his movies on the biggest screen possible. So I think that's going to be something that will definitely be a priority. And yeah, IMAX 70mm film, eat your heart out, Quentin Tarantino. He's got one of those theaters, right? He owns one, I think, in LA. And yeah, I think one of you guys had a really good comment in here. Film conservation, I think, is going to be something great. And then, yeah, advancing techniques in modern film. Christopher Nolan films everything on film, not digital for the most part. And while people might say he would, basically kill CGI if he could, Christopher Nolan has a lot of CGI in his movies. It's just he only uses it in areas where it's really a good fit and where he can't really achieve that practically. So there's a surprising amount of CGI in Christopher Nolan movies. It's just, when he means like, I'm trying to do it practically, he commits to that more so than a lot of directors. And he's certainly never going to tell you like, oh no, I shot that practically, when it was actually done with CGI, like the invisible CGI, the CGI that we don't notice because it's so good. Physical media is definitely also important for preservation. And Christopher Nolan is a big part of that. There's all these instances over the past few months, years even, where we have run into issues like, oh, I didn't have it on Blu-ray and now it's off the streaming service. I can't watch this movie or TV show anywhere. And they're not making any more new copies. So I think film preservation and physical media is a big, big deal, and Christopher Nolan champions that. And hopefully that will help with piracy too. I think piracy is a big, big issue right now because it's shot up incredibly in recent years, and Christopher Nolan can work towards hopefully some initiatives that will either bring the cost of physical media or owning movies, or maybe even like streaming movies down a little bit or make it a little more reasonable. I don't know how much of an effect he's going to have, because he's not like working directly for, he's not on Wall Street working for Warner Brothers or stuff like that. However, he does have a lot of sway in the industry. When he says something, the whole industry listens. So we'll see what the effects of this will be. Yeah, exactly. Dark Elite Eric, there's a lot of other issues that could be improved with how movies, either whether they're shot on digital or on film, how do you master them and remaster them for Blu-ray and DVD releases? So I don't know if those are things that he's going to be able to have an impact on straight away. But the DGA does have elections every 4 years, so he's got 4 years from now to make an impact, and we'll see how involved he's going to be. So no worries though on the grammar enterprising. It's called being human. At least we're not AI, right? Yeah.
Or are you?
Am I? I don't think so.
Are you enterprising?
Am I real?
Are you?
Oh, enterprising. Is enterprising AI?
Are you AI? Are you a bot?
All right. Well, Christopher Nolan is the new DGA president. He's Sir President Christopher Nolan. That's how we will know him from now on. So let us know in the comments down below. What do you think that means for Hollywood? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, it does take up a little bit of his time away from directing movies. Hopefully not much, but I'm sure that, for somebody of his...
It's not going to fucking stop him. Who do you think he is? Get out of here.
I'm just saying, you guys let us know in the comments. What do you think about it? Hello, M8. Welcome on into the show. We are going to be moving towards more DC news soon. But before we do, there is a new Star Wars movie. Believe it or not, there is an actual Star Wars movie that is going to be in theaters next year. And we finally have a new trailer, a first teaser trailer for that movie. And as you guys are talking about in the chat, or we were talking about it earlier in the chat, John, the Mandalorian and the Grogu, or the Mandalorian and Grogu, I just added an extra duh for no reason. It's a new movie directed by Jon Favreau. It's following season 3's events of The Mandalorian. So we're going to get to see a continuation of a TV show in movie form. It's the first time Star Wars will be putting a movie in theaters in like almost half a decade, if not more. And so we've all been waiting to see what this thing actually looks like. Today, they dropped the trailer, and as the headline reads in Variety, it's a teaser trailer, so you don't get a ton of story, but it does show you, Pedro Pascal and Baby Yoda. Oop. I sneezed there, excuse me, but Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian and, of course, Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, they topple an AT-AT, which was in the latter half of the trailer. Jeremy Allen White's hut was in there. We get a bit of a line of dialogue in there. Yeah, this is a virtual background. I'm actually not sitting in a very background-friendly environment. That's why. But also, John, we got to see Sigourney Weaver in this trailer. What did you think about this? This is the first time we're getting a Star Wars movie in like half a decade. Did the trailer look good to you?
No, it looked fucking stupid. This should be a TV movie at best, streaming movie, whatever the fuck it's called now. It looks terrible. Like this, out of 7 years, we have not gotten a Star Wars movie on the big screen, and they shit this out into theaters. God damn it. Like, God, fuck Disney, man. Like, if I gave a shit about Star Wars, I'd be so fucking disappointed at this crap. Like, god damn. This sucks, man. Like, this just looked terrible. Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, this looks so fake. This looks so bland. This looks so boring. And this looks so stupid. I wish I could care about Star Wars, but with shit like this, it makes it easy not to. So, yeah, no, it's just Dan Gilroy actually had a chance to make something good, and that's it. That's all they had.
I think that's more of an exception to the rule in the sense that it's one of the few things that has been almost universally beloved in the last 5 or so years. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver is like Pokemon catching sci-fi franchise.
You could let us know about the production.
Sigourney is, you know what? Baby Yoda is somewhere in my apartment. I just don't have an eye on him right now. I'll find him. I will find him. Okay. But Sigourney Weaver is definitely catching sci-fi franchises like Pokemon's because she's been doing that her entire career. She's not shy about it. She's been in like several of what you would call seminal sci-fi franchises. You got Alien, Avatar. She was in The Creator, not a franchise, but the movie that came out a couple of years ago. She was even wasn't Sigourney Weaver even in the reboot of RoboCop. So yeah, I mean she doesn't say no to a good sci-fi script, no matter how good or bad the movie might turn out to be. But I mean, you guys are looking at like, hey, Grogu's practical and animated. It's a mix figure drawing, but the watcher is tired of seeing Grogu as a young Grogu, I guess. I mean, but he's not young he's probably already like a couple hundred years old. So, but John, just overall, your thoughts on the trailer. I know you said this looked like a TV movie. So visually, do you think this stands out enough? Like, does this feel like your traditional, thank you, like Star Wars movie where you expect certain visuals, you expect scale? Because for me, I thought this looked like what we have been seeing in the TV show just now for the movie. And again, it's only a teaser trailer, so we may have yet to see the best of
it. It looks stupid to me. Sorry.
Like, do you think visually this thing looks like enough of an upgrade to be like, yes, this is an actual movie?
No.
Or does it just feel like they took a couple episodes of the show and maybe turned it into a movie?
Yeah, essentially that.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to wait and see what the actual story is, because honestly, this doesn't give away much. And I mean, not saying that a teaser trailer is meant to do that, but quite frankly, I think this trailer tried to impress us with the visuals and all the characters that are coming back from the TV show. I think this needed to blow us away. I feel like this trailer, given where Star Wars is as a franchise, needed to do a lot more than it actually managed to do. And unfortunately, that means I'm not as excited about the movie as I probably should be. It didn't raise my excitement level quite as much as I expected it to. However, John, something else did raise my excitement level a lot more than the trailer actually did. And you know what that is? It's the fact that Ludwig Göransson, who of course created the theme for The Mandalorian, and he's of course known from Black Panther, his work with Ryan Coogler. We all love The Mandalorian's theme, regardless of what we think about the various seasons. He, of course, Ludwig, is now coming back officially as the composer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which comes out May 22nd, 2026. John, to me, this was the more exciting news, believe it or not, over the trailer even. And even the logo, that weird-looking Western logo, which clearly is a throwback to like all those John Wayne and Clint Eastwood movies from back in the day. What do you think about Ludwig coming back? Do you think he can iterate on the soundtrack for the show, and maybe even make it grander because the way you mix the soundtrack for a movie is different than how you mix it for a TV show. So I can only imagine that for me, he's going to elevate the level of quality. What do you think?
I think it's going to have a banger soundtrack, and that's it. It's kind of it. That's going to be the only good thing about this movie is
Not wrong, Dark Delete.
Ludwig Göransson's score.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll wait to make up my mind until I see an actual story trailer, like the official trailer. This was a teaser trailer. The visuals didn't quite impress as much as I expected them to. It's, again, these are our opinions. You guys might have loved the trailer. Speaking of which, let us know in the comments down below what you think about the new Mandalorian Grogu trailer. It's a teaser. There's quite a bit of footage. You do get some things in there that are maybe unexpected. However, did you like it? Did you not like it? Were you confused by it? Let us know in the comments down below. And in the meantime, we're going to move into our next topic, because now we have a bunch of Marvel news to get into. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to just pile it on into an episode of MCU Weekly. So with that, guys, let's talk about this, shall we? The very first thing we got to talk about in MCU Weekly is, of course, the big thing that happened over the weekend was Tom Holland. We first heard he got injured on the set of Spider-Man. He was taken to a hospital. Thankfully, it looks like it wasn't all that bad, because ultimately he was just diagnosed with a concussion. However, that does mean he's taking a break from filming. Now, he's expected to return in a few days, so he's not going to be gone for terribly long. I imagine like what happens in sports, like in the NBA or something like that, where if you get a concussion, you have to pass a certain set of tests afterwards to be basically cleared to get back into practice and get back to doing what you usually do and play games. Now, this is bad news for the production because it does every time you're not able to shoot what you were scheduled to shoot. For a movie of this scale, which literally has a budget of over $100 million, for a big Hollywood blockbuster, you're losing potentially not just hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars, because you've already paid for people's time, you've already paid for all the sets, you've already paid. So there's a lot of money here that's being wasted potentially. However, there's probably a few ways in which they're able to make up some of that by switching things around and then filming some other stuff, like filming the other actors that are going to be in the movie, maybe doing some scenes that don't involve Tom Holland. Maybe they can shoot some stuff where they can cheat it so that they don't actually need Tom Holland, on screen for that. So, it's unfortunate to see this, and it's not the first star in the last little while that has suffered an injury filming a big franchise movie. We heard from various sources last week, and it was confirmed later. I actually have a statement from Henry Cavill later in the show that he got injured while filming Highlander. So it's not something that happens very often, quite frankly. It could probably happen more often, considering how many actors tend to do some of their own stunts. Of course, Tom Cruise being the one that we know he blew out both of his knees filming one of those Mission Impossible movies. We heard Daniel Craig got himself injured filming the last Bond movie. So it has happened before. It's happened several times. So Tom Holland, certainly it's not unusual to see this. But of course, Henry Cavill is another example in recent weeks. John, what was your reaction to this? The good news here is that he's only got a concussion, and Deadline is saying that they're expecting to resume filming on Monday. How do you think that this affects the production? Because, they did have to stop filming. I mean, I was saying earlier they might have been using that time now to shoot some other stuff. But again, usually with how things are scheduled, it's hard to just pivot away from filming what you were meant to film on the schedule. So I'm sure this cost Sony and Marvel a lot of time and money. But the fact that it's only a concussion, I guess it definitely could have been worse. And they are going to be back to filming in less than a week's time. What do you think about the news that Tom Holland is, he's on the mend, but production has been paused for a week?
I think he'll be okay. I know that there was reports that a female stunt performer also got injured, but I couldn't find anything else in regards to that because I think one source said that she got hurt and then that was it. But I have every other source that I've looked into this. They haven't listed anyone else that got hurt. So I don't know about that. But yeah, luckily it's only concussion. But that Jackie Chan stunt team, they know, and usually Jackie Chan and injuries kind of go together like bread and butter. So, that kind of makes sense. That tracks. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I read like one article that said there was somebody else, but I haven't found anybody else say that. So, I mean, if there is someone else, I hope she's okay. But most of the articles say it was only Holland.
And it looks like it's not that bad either. I mean, concussion is still bad. We see in sports all the time.
Not like it's he broke something.
Yes. Because if he had torn a ligament or if he had broken a bone, that would be months potentially on the mend, and he would need surgery. And so a concussion is still not a good thing at all. But it certainly it's could be a lot worse. So we're all wishing Tom Holland the very best. By the way, we do have, of course, Moser Player 18 in the chat saying Brainiac. We're going to get into the Brainiac news or the potential Brainiac news in a little bit. So thanks for coming in. And Bane is here saying every actor wants to be Tom Cruise. Well, here's the thing, though, John. Just a follow-up question. And we're going to talk about Henry Cavill's injury later too, Monique, that for sure. I wonder, given that they had him doing a lot of that wire work himself recently in Glasgow when they were filming there, do you think this means after this injury that they're going to pull back a lot on Tom, or maybe even be like, okay, we don't need Tom Holland. We don't need Tom for you to do all these stunts anymore. Like we played around with that because clearly this must have resulted in this injury must have resulted from him doing something that was stunt based. And I'm just wondering if after this accident, John, does Tom Holland get to do any more stunt work himself for the rest of the Spider-Man brand new edition?
It's unlikely. The only stuff I could maybe see is that if like his face is shown, but that's unlikely. So
Yeah. I mean, and Watcher making a good point. Tom Holland has always tried to do as much of his stunts as possible. He's a physical actor. He's really good at it too. He's probably the most athletic, quite
well,
frankly,
yeah, because
Spider-Man ever.
he was a gymnast or something as
Mhm.
a kid. Gymnast or something like that. So, and I mean, he also was Billy Elliot. You know,
Mhm. I
that's
mean, we know he's
physically
gonna be doing the
demanding.
Fred Astaire biopic, and that's all
Yeah,
about dancing. So he's got the training for it and everything. So, but however, it is always
yeah,
concerning.
he is a dancer. That's the
He's
whole Billy Elliot because Billy Elliot's
yes.
about he goes into ballet, so he obviously knows how to do that as
Exactly.
well.
And that's why I think he got cast in the Fred Astaire biopic, which would be amazing to see. He might be the best, literally the best person for the job. But yeah, like Enterprising was saying, head trauma can linger, and we have seen obviously like if you have enough concussions uh, over time, CTE could develop. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. It's one concussion. We don't know his medical history. We don't know what's to come down the road. I just think like he's probably gonna want to be a little more uh, careful, cautious, even because he's certainly somebody who has said in the past, not too long ago, even that he'd like to retire well before he gets into his like 50s and 60s. Like he does not plan on acting for like decades longer. Like he feels like he's done what he needs to do. He's got a great relationship with Zendaya, and they're building a future together. And he's like, you know what, I want to be a father and stuff, and I want to be there for those would be kids and stuff. So hopefully this is the worst injury he suffers in his acting career. So. But yeah, he's a gymnast, he's a dancer, so he would love to do his own stunts, keep doing his own stunts,
We'll
much
see.
like
We'll
the
see if we
Cavills
can
and the
try.
Cruises of the world. Yeah. All right. So with that, guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about the Tom Holland injury? Are you happy, sad, confused by the fact that Tom Holland, he got himself injured. Thankfully, it's not any worse than a concussion. A concussion it's still bad, but it's not a torn ligament or a broken bone. So with that, though, John, we do have a few other Tom Holland related pieces of news. There is a rumor, I believe, going around that we got to address, as we usually do on MC Weekly, but take it with a grain of salt because, again, it's a rumor. And the rumor talks about how Tom Holland might have been filming some really key scenes. Now, this rumor comes to us from Daniel Rickman, and it's connected to the concussion story where Tom Holland was recently injured. And, well, it looks like, according to Daniel Rickman, he got himself injured, Tom Holland did, while they were filming on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day, a scene with Peter meeting MJ and Ned. So to me, the pieces kind of track in terms of the believability of this. We know that Tom Holland, of course, got a concussion, so we know he likes to do some of his own wire work as Spider-Man. We've seen him do that in Glasgow. He was swinging, and he was on the tank and stuff. So, do you think, based on the fact that he got himself injured doing a stunt while potentially filming a scene where Peter meets MJ and Ned, we know that according to the canon of the MCU right now, MJ and Ned don't even remember who Peter Parker was, or that there was even a Peter Parker. They just know there's a Spider-Man. So I'm just going to infer a few things here. Do you think they were filming a scene where Spider-Man swings in, and of course MJ and Ned know there is a Spider-Man,
Right.
but they don't know Peter Parker? Is this meant to be a scene where Peter Parker reintroduces himself to them and he's like, I am I'm Spider-Man, I'm Peter Parker? And then also, how do you think they're going to explain the whole thing of, was it the idea that Peter Parker was lost to the world, like as in nobody knows Peter Parker exists? Or was it the idea that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, meaning like, oh, like if they found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, maybe their memories will return? I'm just trying to figure out like how that would even work, John. What do you think about all that?
So obviously at the end of the previous movie, we see Peter go to MJ. He's there. She doesn't know who he is. She's like, maybe something, but that's it. Like she obviously doesn't know who he is. She doesn't, like, Peter Parker essentially doesn't exist. I think that's what happened. Like, is like Peter Parker
Okay.
doesn't exist in the world, and that's why he's getting his GED, because he's He's essentially wiped himself from the planet. Obviously, Peter Parker as a person still exists. I think it's just like nobody has any recollection of him. But like, obviously, there's probably like records out there, like a birth certificate or something.
Right.
But I think like
Right.
everything else is just kind of wiped.
Yeah, it's hard. The more you think about it, the harder it will be for them to address this. But these are all questions people are going to ask, and hopefully, they'll address them in some way. By the way, Justin Geeky Guy, if you're still watching, we did save a second super chat about James Gunn. We'll get back into that later. And Steven, thank you for checking in. I am still really tired, but I am not, like sick. So I had caught a bug, but I am feeling better. So thank you, Steven, for checking in with me. Hopefully Tom Holland will be feeling better soon from his concussion, because before he got concussed, John, Tom Holland was talking about how this upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day is really a rebirth for Spidey, like confirming that his new suit that he has very much been inspired by elements from both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's suits. So are you believing what Tom Holland is putting down here? Do you think this Brand New Day movie is very much going to be a rebirth? Obviously it's the start of a new trilogy, with a new suit, a more classic set of colors, a more classic looking suit design. Are we going back to the basics? Because yes, this Peter Parker isn't somebody that anybody remembers in the world of the MCU. Nobody knows who he is. He got his secret identity back, and also he doesn't have a billionaire playboy philanthropist paying his bills. And the only downside is he doesn't have Uncle Ben or Aunt May. So I guess that's one thing that's different from what we've seen before. But do you believe that they mean it when they said that this is a rebirth, that they're going to give us a more, your friendly neighborhood, more grounded, as grounded as Spider-Man could be, but certainly, a Peter Parker that's struggling to pay the bills, lives in a raggedy apartment, built his own or made his own suit kind of thing. Like, what are we getting? Do you buy what Tom Holland is selling here?
I think I want to, much like the X-Files, I want to believe. But I just hope that they, that's what I hope. That's what I really hope, that it's not what came before, because what came before was just so painfully mid, and so painfully just not Spider-Man to me. So I hope that this is like something. It's truly a brand new day. That's what I hope for, but I don't really trust Marvel or Kevin Feige or Disney all that much. So, because remember, these guys are supposed to pump up their movies. Pump it up.
That's true. And to address what you guys are saying in the comments, I don't know if he's gonna get 3 trilogies. Tom Holland is. Let's see where this next trilogy goes, because he's definitely gonna be like on the older side by the time we get to the 3rd trilogy. So he would be the oldest actor playing Spider-Man at that point. So I would take it like, one trilogy at a time. He might even not even be working as an actor by the time we get to the point of a 3rd trilogy. So you're a Mulder, John? Monique is asking. Totally pegged you for a Scully.
Well, with this, I want to believe. I don't know if he is a believer. I'm not a believer. I want to believe. But
okay, so you are more of a Scully. Although Scully sort of becomes more of a believer herself the more you watch the show, right? Like the latter seasons of X-Files. Because
I never watched the latter.
There's some crazy shit that happens to Scully in that show in the latter half.
Right.
But anyway, that's besides the point. The Watcher's still insisting there will be 9 plus. Actually, currently has 6. I think what you mean by that is probably you're including the Avengers movies, which would make sense. If you do add the Avengers movies to his trilogy, he has been in 6 total MCU movies, so he will have 9 by that time. As far as 3 trilogies go, though, Watcher, I don't know. Tom Holland doesn't seem like the guy who's. Here's the thing, though. I was gonna say he doesn't seem like the type of guy who needs these movies, but then again, he has really not had a ton of success outside of Spider-Man, so who knows whether he's gonna have 3 trilogies in total or not. I think they're gonna probably, like you said, enterprising. They're gonna bring in Miles Morales by the time we get to the third trilogy would be in the MCU. But that's all speculation right now. So there you go. MTG's got the right idea. Stop talking about quitting Holland. Biro sucks. Keep flipping, baby. That's exactly. But yeah, there's also the idea of will Sony allow it? Will Sony allow it? That's the key ultimately. Yeah, and we won't see Miles for a while because Sony has kind of told them like hands off. Like we heard about that recently. Like Kevin Feige himself mentioned that. So yeah, and then Hunter, are you saying Peter Porker and how did Pigfeet got in the cleaning Spider Pig does whatever Spider Pig does? I do not understand what you mean by that. But Peter Porker was a fun character for sure. All right, cool. Guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about all that Tom Holland talk there? Because we're going to move on to our next MCU Weekly story, John. Because, of course, while we were going to be discussing a James Gunn potential reveal for Man of Tomorrow later, there was a big leak for the other really, really big superhero movie coming out. Not in 2026. Actually, it is in 2026. Never mind. I was gonna try to build it up because Man of Tomorrow comes out in 2027. Avengers Doomsday comes out in late 2026. It's probably gonna be the biggest movie of the year next year. Will be the biggest movie of the year next Christmas. Not this Christmas. That will be Avatar. But without further ado, John, we have some leaks from behind the scenes, whether it's hair and makeup or some potential cast gifts from the crew gifts from wrapping up the movie. We're going to start off by looking at these photos here. Ember on Main posted a set of photos, and if you click into this, you can see a look at some of the costumes, and they look like they're not the costumes we saw for all the X-Men in the Fox movies. They look like some new iteration of them. John, you see at the very top, I don't know if you can click on the photo or if it enlarges any further, but you see there James Marsden with his Cyclops look, and you could clearly tell that there's some damage here. This would probably just battle damage and stuff. You don't see the visor here, but I think the more impressive, the more surprising looks are for Doctor Doom on the right. You see some of the scarring for Robert Downey Jr. on the top right. That to me dispels the rumor that he's been a diva about the whole makeup and I don't make me look ugly, don't hide my face, or make me look pretty. Doesn't matter. I'm playing Doctor Doom. What do you think about this is our first look at Robert Downey Jr. in Doctor Doom's costume, and that costume also matches what we saw at that Shanghai Marketing Expo. So these photos look legit, John. And then when you look at Ian McKellen, his Magneto costume looks much more like the Michael Fassbender one than it does like anything he wore in the original Fox X-Men movies. Your thoughts on all of this, I suppose?
It's fake.
Me know what you think.
None of this is real. I don't think it's real. None of this looks real. It all looks fake.
You think so?
Especially Ian McKellen. It looks extraordinarily fake to me. I don't think it's real.
And what do you think about the Shuri makeup there?
I don't think that's really. I don't think any of this is real.
Okay.
Like the glaring thing is Ian McKellen. That looks like AI. This doesn't look
Actually,
real.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong about those. Those photos are really stand out. Yeah, you know what? Now I can't unsee it. It's definitely got that AI look. Cool. Oh, the Watcher saying you will most likely get Spider-Gwen takes Holland's place unless Sony changes their mind. That's fair. That's fair. The first trilogy went to high school, second college, third is adult. I did hear about that. I'm not saying that that's not the direction that Marvel wanted to go with Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's probably still what they want to do. It's more a matter of whether Tom Holland will be around and whether the movies will be doing well enough to last for 3 trilogies, which is pretty unprecedented. Enterprising is saying that James Marsden nose is definitely what's throwing him off. All right, well, there you go. So that looks like more AI than anything else. However, John, the next thing we're going to look at looks a lot less like AI and probably a little more real because there was a leak from one of the crew wrap gifts. So you know how when a movie wraps up, especially a movie of this scale, we talked about it with Superman. the crew usually hands out, gets gifts from either the studio or like the filmmakers, and it's something specific to the project they just worked on. If you click into this, we can get a tighter look at it. You've got a first look potentially. This is more illustration than anything else, but these are the Avengers, and including Doctor Doom. I mean, not an Avenger, but certainly the villain of the movie, at least that we think so right now. Some surprises, some things look the same. I think the big standouts here, and we can address them maybe from left to right. Obviously, you're getting a masked Doctor Doom at the very top. Then you get, the big news in social media was Thor is back to the short hair, and he looks much more like the Thor that we saw in Avengers Infinity War than the Thor that we have seen since, and especially not the Thor that we got with the long hair in Love and Thunder. Are you surprised to see that going back to the short hair Thor, and how do you think they're going to explain that? And also, when you look at Loki,
he cut his hair.
Did he?
Like,
am I missing something? Was it at the end of the movie?
They could just say, "Oh, he got a haircut." Like,
okay,
I don't know why.
I'm just saying it happened off screen. I'm saying, but also, are you somebody who prefers Thor with short hair, or are you more of a traditional?
I prefer long hair, but not super long. I don't want it to go down like all the way down his back, but I do like first Thor movie. That's when the hair looked best.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, we do see Shang-Chi in there. Who's next to Shang-Chi? Is that meant to be Winston Duke? To the right of him?
It looks like it, yeah.
Is that? Oh, that's the colors not doing him any favor here.
Oh, but we got somebody making a name for themselves right there.
Hey, and then is that who's on the right of him? Is that
that's Alan Cumming. That's Nightcrawler.
Oh my god, that does not look like Alan Cumming at all. But cool. All right, we got.
I think this guy is
Captain America.
Namor. I think that's Namor.
That looks very different from the Namor. Well, I mean, again, illustrations. So, yeah, they look like something you've seen at
Beast up here. You got, I think, Black Widow. I don't know who the fuck this is supposed to be. I don't even know who this is supposed to be neither.
Who's in the bottom right corner, John? I think that's Franklin Richards in the bottom right corner.
Franklin Richards right there.
A little bit more grown up.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sentry there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who else are we missing? Or let's see. If you go to the right, is that the farthest right? After Franklin. So. Okay. Oh, we got the new Falcon. All right.
Yeah. Nobody gives a fuck about Falcon. And then we got U.S. Agent down here.
Is that Mystique? By the way, is that Mystique next to U.S. Agent?
Yes.
So Rebecca Romaine was not kidding about the whole idea that they're not going to do the naked body with the
God forbid, but whatever.
Attach, it's just they're not doing the traditional.
And now it looks like they're going for weirder stuff with the Fantastic Four. Like there's a weird jacket in this thing for
It's cold in the 616, Sean. That's why they got jackets on. Mystique with fucking sleeves. I mean, it's fine. I don't care. I mean, like it's as long as the character's written well. Who cares if she's scantily clad? I like that we have David Harbour returning as Red Guardian. He's gonna probably be one of the best parts of the movie. I love that Shang-Chi is back. Simu Liu has been desperately missing from the MCU since his Shang-Chi turn a few years ago in the pandemic times. Patrick Stewart will play Professor X literally probably until he dies. James Marsden's suit, John, looks much more comic accurate than the Fox version. And even above him, you see the Beast. With now I think it's going to be all CGI, but that's Kelsey Grammer's Beast. He also looks much more colorful than what we were used to seeing in some of the Fox movies. So, these characters don't quite look like the Fox X-Men we remember. So it'll be interesting to see if they're meant to be exactly the same or maybe a different iteration who just happen to be played by the same actors. That's going to be the question. Because like Bane will break you is asking, John, are these just the X-Men 97 outfits? Like for Cyclops and so I'm wondering like if they're going to tie this directly back to the Fox X-Men movies, or are they going to just say this is like them but similar, not quite the same? Because in those Fox movies, the costumes change too. So, I mean, continuity, schmontinuity is what they used to say.
Right.
So how does it all line up?
I could definitely see them doing like, oh, it's similar but different, like kind of like what they did for Logan, or it's clearly not the same world that it once inhabited, but it's also not the same world that was fixed in Days of Future Past. It's clearly like different just to tell its own story, but it still works. So I think it'll be like it's as close to the Fox universe as we get, but it's not technically because that probably shit doesn't work. So, you know.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm thinking too. I think they're gonna say these are the X-Men that you knew, sort of, kind of like what they wanted to do with Daredevil before they completely changed their mind and said, you know what, these are the same characters that you saw on Netflix. In this case, though, I think they're gonna only loosely adapt the Fox X-Men mythology, as it were. So, or canon.
Anyway, by
Yeah.
the way, I scrubbed through that entire July 11th episode, and I did not find a super chat from Figure Drawing. So the search for the receipts is still on. Also, I noticed, and I feel so bad, since I accidentally banned Enterprising, all of their previous comments before that episode have been wiped, and I don't think you can bring them back. So, again, once again, I apologize, Enterprising. But yeah, we'll find those receipts eventually. We will. But sorry, Enterprising, your before the Flash episode, your presence on this channel was all but wiped. Apologies, but you're here now, so that's all.
Blame John for that.
It was not my fault that some fucker was being an annoying prick and I had to ban them. And the stupid chat like goes too fast.
Hey, Hosea. Hey, you changed your avatar. He's going to the dark side from Metropolis to Gotham. Cool. The Watchers finding some hilarity in this. It doesn't matter. It's in the past, says Enterprise. There you go. Taking it on the chin. That's exactly what we like to see.
I just feel bad because it's just the whole thing of like, you're a good regular. We like having you here, and it's just like a stupid mistake just kind of wiped that from,
It's all good. Well, guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think?
That's a stupid thing to do. If I bring you back, their comments should fucking come back. That's stupid. Fuck you.
Blame
YouTube.
the platform. Anyway, okay. Guys, let us know in the comments. What do you think about
blame Google,
the Avengers Doomsday leaks and what they mean for the Avengers movies coming up? John, why don't you take over for the next bit of Marvel news, and then I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. Time to ban Enterprise again. No, just kidding. But here we go. Now something a little bit nicer to look at than my gross face and Dan's gross face. Ana de Armas. So apparently, Ana de Armas has joined the cast of Avengers Doomsday in an undisclosed role. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean anything. It's just a rumor mill. And it's rumored that she is going to play Doctor Doom's mother, Cynthia Von Doom. And I don't know. Could be true. Famously in the comics, Cynthia Von Doom was, I think, sent to hell. Like, she died and she got sent to hell, and Doctor Doom was like trying to bring her back and make a deal, but then something went wrong and he got horrifically scarred, hence why he has the armor on. And so I just feel like having Ana de Armas in a pretty decent sized role, but not a huge one, I feel like that would be like weird to have. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are, but I just think that that's someone as big as Ana de Armas, and I don't think she would be in such a small. I mean, it's still like a substantial role for the film, but like I would think that Ana de Armas would be like in the X-Men movie or a future movie that would be like really big. So yeah, it seems like a bit of a waste, a tiny bit. But but this is coming from Daniel Richtman, aka Daniel RPK. I didn't realize they were the same person for the longest time, but but apparently, this says the same thing, that they're being eyed for multiple roles. Now, this It's just kind of naming stuff how they would. This is nothing. This is just a guesswork from Cosmic Book News, which is a not very trustworthy site. They could be the female Ghost Rider. They could be another Black Widow. The Enchantress. And like that kind of thing. But I don't see any of that. I could see them as bigger roles like that. I just definitely don't see the Cynthia Von Doom. I don't think they'll be, fucking Ghost Rider either. But I could see something like Enchantress. That could work. But yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are, but it's definitely a weird decision, I think. Weird decision. I think Black Widow makes the most sense to me. I don't think she'll be Cynthia Von Doom, but I could see them see her as like a different Black Widow if like Florence Pugh doesn't want to come back or something, and on the Armas is like, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, that's what essentially she was in the John Wick movie, Ballerina, I could see them doing that. Hello, Marcos. Marco, not Manos, Marco. I don't think it's the best host, but I appreciate that. I think Nando V Movies did a very good fan casting a while back where he fan casted her as Mystique. I think she would do a very good job as Mystique. She's played a lot of different characters, and I think I kind of agree with him on that she would do a very good job in that role. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on this. I think it's kind of interesting. I hope that she is a bigger role, not just, Doctor Doom's mommy. But yeah, well, she's the mommy of many, just maybe not Doctor Doom's mommy. But the last bit of Marvel news we have is Luke Cage himself, Mike Coulter, dropping the biggest hint yet about his character returning to Daredevil Born Again. He said this at Edmonton Expo this past weekend. I don't know why people keep asking me this. There are no signs. It's not like they've just recently revived one of the Marvel Netflix shows. Did you see what they did to Hulk? Come on, man. If they're going to do that to Hulk, they'd have Thanos absolutely wipe the floor with Luke. But he did say this back in March. I still have hopes for it. I don't think about it anymore. I think there's always time. I don't think it's possible. Anything can happen. So there's a lot of wishing and wanting, and I do hope he comes back. He's definitely I think he's probably the most underrated out of the four. Because I feel like Daredevil was perfect, Jessica Jones was overrated, Luke Cage was underrated, and then Iron Fist was kind of there. Like, I don't hate the first season as a lot of other people do. But I think it's a sign for something. I think it's a sign, and I do hope he comes back because that would be wonderful to see. Yeah. I think Danny Rand should come back. I think Finn Jones should come back. We don't want to get demonetized, Dan, so don't do that for too long. But that's it for MCU Weekly. Now we move on to the quicker side of the news. It's time for quick hits. So let's get into the quickest of the hits. I just have to finish chewing. I'm eating Dr. Pepper jelly beans. Yes, exactly. Street level Marvel is the best Marvel. No holds barred, easily. Street level stuff is the best. The grandiose stuff, it's all right. Street level stuff is the best. Punisher, Moon Knight, Daredevil, Spider-Man. Although Spider-Man can be grandiose, but the really, Ghost Rider. That although Ghost Rider can be cosmic and shit like that, but street level stuff is the best. Boom! There we go, Watcher. Let's fucking go. It's just the most interesting. It's just like, I don't hate the grandiose stuff like X-Men stuff like that, but for me, street level. Anyway, let's actually get started with the quick. Speaking of Tom Holland, we referenced Henry Cavill, where here he is. He's on his couch with his doggos, reciting poetry about his time for Highlander with the Superman mullet that we never got to see. But here he is. So any of you foot fetish people, then by all means, there you go. But he's clearly not he's not upset. He's got his Warhammer next to him, so he's probably not he's not fiending too hard for boredom or anything like that. So yeah, exactly. I agree with that M2G. Anyway, yes, I hope he's happy. Best you can do with a predicament like that, but yes, it is official that he did break his foot, but it doesn't look too bad. Like the cast. Well, I mean, it kind of works. The cast doesn't look too bad. Like it looks pretty minimal, like foot, ankle kind of thing. It's not like the whole leg. It just seems like the foot, ankle, and it doesn't seem like a big plaster cast. So I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's yes, that's what it was. But yeah, he looks like Blue Beetle. What, in what universe? But speaking of superhero things, we go from one superhero to another, and well, one Superman to another, kind of, but part of Peacemaker. But James Gunn did say that they will see one more character from Superman in the coming episodes, but he didn't reveal more than that. Many have theorized, even on this show, that Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor will be coming into the show. Even a couple people have theorized that he's going to take over Argus. I don't think that's going to be true because, like, he fucking nearly destroyed Metropolis. Why would he be handed the keys to a government agency? Or he's going to work for Argus. I could see that as well. But many have also said Lois Lane. You know, it could even be Jimmy Olsen. He could definitely show up here because Scarlett Gisondo is no stranger to TV. Well, neither is Rachel Brosnahan. But, you know, I could see that. But yeah. So we're getting another Superman character. Who knows? It's either between Lois and Lex. One of the two. True that. Jimmy Olsen fucks. Let's go. Anyway. Next up, Bob Odenkirk. Magnolia Pictures lands TIFF hit Normal. Not Nobody, Normal. 2026 wide release for Bob Odenkirk's star, hatched by John Wick's Derek Kolstad, much like Nobody movies, but slightly different because it's reasons. But they've nabbed Normal, and it's going to get a wide release sometime next year. It is about Sheriff Ulysses, played by Odenkirk. His professional posting to the quaint Midwestern American town of Normal was meant to be a welcome respite from both his marital woes and recent moral injuries in the line of duty. But when a botched bank robbery interrupts the municipality's tranquil pace, a dark secret is inadvertently exposed, and Ulysses soon discovers that the town is anything but its namesake. The town is a stronghold for ill-gotten riches held by the Yakuza, which triggers great action set pieces and sharp comedic dialogue. As is the case with other Kolstad Hatch features, there is plenty of mayhem as blood splashes the snow in this Fargo-like small town. Very exciting. Bob Odenkirk, he has made another life as a recent older action star. So, hell yeah. Way to go. Love to see it, Bob Odenkirk. What are your thoughts on this, man?
First he tried to do not tried. He successfully did a John Wick-esque created another John Wick-esque franchise. Now he's going over there trying to do another Reacher-esque franchise, it sounds like. Or Rambo, depending on if you're subscribed to that fact that the First Blood was the best Rambo movie.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, then apparently Miss Nelson is Missing movie is in the works at Netflix with Melissa McCarthy to star and Brad Copeland writing. Hello, Sunshine and Gray Matter producing. Don't really care. I don't really like Melissa McCarthy. I don't know what this book is, so
it looks fun. Yeah. Melissa McCarthy makes good movies mostly. We'll see.
I don't know about that.
I did say mostly. I said mostly.
Well, I wouldn't even go with most. I would say some, a little bit at best. Right. Anyway,
touche.
Speaking of actually funny comedians, Ed O'Neill, Danielle Brooks, and John Higgins joined Cameron Diaz, well, three out of four, in action comedy Bad Day. Jake Szymanski is directing the Netflix feature. Thoughts?
Hey, look, Cameron Diaz continues her comeback, and Danielle Brooks is hot off the trail of Peacemaker, which is doing way
Could
better.
have just ended it before off. You could have just left it at that and just.
Sure. There you go. Cool. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. You could just say Danielle Brooks is hot, because we would all agree with that. Anyway, speaking of not hot, Taylor Swift. Apparently, the docuseries The Swift Effect gets season 2 premiere date on Peacock and NBCU Fast channels. I don't even fucking know what what is NBCU Fast?
So Fast is like free ad-supported television. So basically, you know how Tubi is a thing and Pluto? Those are every channel on there is a Fast channel, meaning just free, but they'll give you ads, free ad-supported television. So I know Peacock has like a live component to it. If you go in the app, not only can you watch stuff on demand, but they also have these live channels. So apparently, I think they're going to be releasing this not only on Peacock, where you can just go and hit play, pause, and fast forward and rewind, but you can also go into the Fast channels and they'll have options for it. You'll be able to see it as part of like a channel, like a traditional looking or playing TV channel. Where, yeah, there you go. That's the best I can explain it. So, like enterprising set, shake it off and move on. Cool.
Yep. Speaking of Disney, though, Disney secures $2.2 billion in UK subsidies as Hollywood production declines. Huh.
This is significant, by the way. Thank you, Watcher. Disney securing $2.2 billion in the UK. This is basically, tax credits, right? Like subsidies. You go film in the UK. We know they've pretty much moved their entire Marvel production operation to the UK. They're filming less and less in Atlanta and across the US. I mean, LA, we have talked about many a times. The production is down overall. If you go further down in this article, they give you some really key stats on how there's a lot more production in UK these days than in the US. US film production is kind of slumped over. Now, when you look at this, there's a really key point here, John. Data from the British Film Institute, the BFI, basically, there's the AFI, American Film Institute, that there's the BFI, the UK equivalent. If you zoom into the paragraph here a little bit, we can go through the stat. And it's really alarming in some ways, depending on, I guess, which side of the pond you sit on, or maybe this is really good. Although I know people who work in production in the UK, and they've said that this doesn't affect, this hasn't been as much of a boon to UK film jobs as you might think. But however, still stands the fact that according to the BFI, foreign studios led by Disney, Netflix, and Amazon have accounted for 87% of the 1.6 billion pounds, aka $2.2 billion spent on UK productions just last year. That marks a 7.6% jump since 2019. And now this new deal from the UK government has raised the reimbursement rate to 25.5%, which is significantly higher than the previous rate. And it's basically created a lot more competition and favorable to the UK compared to even New York and California. So I think this is going to mean that a lot more productions on Disney Plus, on Netflix, on, like they said, Amazon Prime. It's insane. Andor alone, they said, received like $138 million in subsidies. So there you go. More production in the UK. That's kind of, and there's some real money behind that too. So I only think this is going to further shift the tide in favor of the Brits. However, it affects or doesn't affect the job market over there. So
anyway, let's move on. Black Phone 2 calls.
By the way, MTG, I do want to say I think they are taking American crews in some ways, but also they might be hiring from other locales. It's yeah. There you go. Anyway. Great.
But Black Phone 2 calls critics as horror sequel lands Supernatural Rotten Tomatoes debut, which is apparently at 100% right now, based on only 9 reviews. So it'll probably.
Yeah, the last I checked, it was perfect because there were not even a dozen reviews. I mean, when I first checked, there were 6 and there wasn't a score. So then it went to 100%. So Black Phone 2 looking real good, John. Looking real good.
Indeed. I'm curious about what the Rotten Tomatoes score is right now. I'm gonna check it real quick.
Jolly old England, Mad Mod from Team Iron.
Oh, now it's okay. This is interesting. It shows not a score anymore.
It's disappeared.
It has disappeared.
Yeah.
Although,
Fandom Wire. There's a Rotten review right at the top. So
it's probably
10 out of
at
11.
Whatever the math is, it's at 11. What's
Somebody
10
divide
out of
10
11?
by 11.
That's probably like 92% or something like that.
I'm gonna check your math, John. Let me see. We all have calculators in our pockets. 10.
Yes.
Yeah, 90.9%. There you go. Perfect.
91. I was close.
Yeah.
Close. So yeah. Cool for the Black Phone. Awesome. Great. Now we move on. And the final bit, as the quick hits end, so does Catfish, the TV show, after 9 seasons. I didn't even know this shit was still on. I thought this like ended in like the mid 2010s. So,
Good riddance.
Cool, I guess. Great. Anyway, that's it. We're done. There we go. Now we're gonna pop this graphic up. Thanks for watching the news portion. We are going to be getting into other greater and better things next time. Not next time, but in like a few seconds after we play our glorious and wonderful intro. But yeah, thanks for watching the news portion. We'll see you in 45 seconds after we become blessed at the beginning. So let's get into it.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Honka honka!
All right. It's time.
Gang, gang.
It's time. It's DC time. Thank you, Seth. Thank you so much for that. All right.
No.
Well, you know, he ain't doing anything right now. I mean, he's on the mend, Henry Cavill is. But hey, we are doing some stuff today, John, because we got lots to talk about. So, what are you most excited to get into on the DC side of things?
I'm excited to get into bed at a reasonable hour. Oh, wait, that's not going to happen anymore. Oh, well.
Wow. That put a damper on things. How about I brighten the mood up a little bit? Yes, we will be here for a little while because there's a lot of Batman, there's a lot of Superman, and then we have some Man of Tomorrow news to get into. So, John, let's kick things off, shall we? We like to colloquially call the next set of pieces of news from DC the DC Quick Hits, aka the Parrots, Ducks, and Pelicans of DC News. All right, Mexicali, let's get into this, shall we?
You couldn't pick a better picture for John Cena? Like, Jesus.
He's okay. He loves being, the butt of a joke. That's John Cena for you. But hey, James Gunn was teasing recently how they might be bringing in more of the Charlton comic heroes, like obviously Blue Beetle we know about, but the question is one that we've all wanted to see for a long time. And they all could be headed to the DCU, John. What do you think about this?
I hope so. Charlton Comics characters are quite interesting to me. They're kind of more out there, more like shade of gray type stuff. So like I kind of like that. Because I mean they were, characters that were like not part of like the big Marvel and DC brand, so they could like be more, like out there. So like Captain Atom and The question as was mentioned, and like Nightshade and all these other stranger characters, and so I don't know. It's just like I mean, to be fair, like what fucking wasn't a mob front like way back when? Like everything's a mob front, so it's like, come on.
Well, we actually some things have not changed still. But anyway, we talked about that at the top of the show. You guys are gonna have to rewind for that one. But hey, let's keep on going here, John. The next DC quick hit we got is more James Gunn because
the man can't shut the fuck up.
Apparently not, because from the day he got hired to the day he gave us that slate announcement, we've been talking about how things are changing and they're not quite sticking to the plan.
Changing.
So John, we've talked about this many a times. The fact that they announced 10 projects, 5 movies, 5 TV shows back in 2023, Gods and Monsters, DCU Chapter 1, Part 1. Of those 10 projects, I feel like maybe half of them have come out or are in some, stable, predictable, place in their development. When you count them all, you got Superman, you got Supergirl, Lanterns. I'm trying to think, like Creature Commandos. Is that it? Because I know Clayface wasn't part of the initial announcement.
No, because all the other projects, the Authority is on the back burner. Brave and the Bold is like kind of in limbo right now, but it seems like there's more positive news, and we'll get to that soon enough.
These are DC quick hits, enterprising, but yeah.
Swamp Thing, and we don't have the music because the music gives me a headache. And then Swamp Thing, which has James Mangold attached writer director wise, but he's off being a fucking butthole slut for Disney, so we're probably not going to see him for a while. And then the shows are Waller, Booster Gold, and Paradise Lost,
all of which are in some mysterious stage of writing / development. So like Paradise Lost, we don't even think has a writer's room yet. Waller seemingly is being written by somebody, but they have been reworking it for a while. And then what was the third one? Booster Gold. We only keep talking about who might be playing Booster Gold. We have no idea what stage of writing that show is in. So, I mean, that's not even a 50% batting average. That's like 4 out of 10, like in terms of where things are at. So James Gunn recently addressed why, things are the way they are. And of course, they've done a lot of other stuff, and they've got a lot of stuff on the way beyond just the 4 out of the 10 from the initial announcement.
They spelled Zaslav wrong, but
yeah, they did. I saw that. But James Gunn went on this podcast recently, speaking to YMH Studios, and he talked about why things are changing and why there's so many other projects that weren't in the initial slate announcement that have been added on, and and in some ways are even being fast tracked over the original slate projects, like a Wonder Woman script, for example. And he said this: when we first took over, I had written up what the first shows are supposed to be, and then there were then where your story eventually went. So we met with David Zaslav, who was the one that hired us. Okay. And we told him what the basic plan was. He was into that, and we got hired. Then he kind of just, James Gunn kind of spells out how after they got hired, they filled Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi into it, and then Casey Bloys, who runs HBO, into it. And now here's the key part, John. He says, so we had a basic plan that we hired a bunch of writers then, who I really respected. James Gunn's talking here, who came in, and we kind of worked out the whole story. Now, some things have changed since for various reasons, but the big thrust of the story is the same. That is, what started in Superman continues in Peacemaker Season 2, which also wasn't part of the original announcement, by the way, and then continues in the next Superman movie, which was also not part of the original announcement, and then will continue in the movie after that, which I definitely was not part of the original announcement, and then after that. So there was always this bigger plan that we came up with. So, John, I'm going to skip the second half of this because...
But I'll keep it on screen if you want to read it. So that's...
Absolutely. I mean, he mentions that it's like a decade, maybe a little less in terms of the overall story arc and how long it's going to take them to get through it. I don't believe it's going to take them just 10 years. I mean, it might. I mean, things might pick up pace, but I mean, right now we're...
And, with this fucking buyout shit, who knows how that's
might change. That's true. So... James, and then he talks about it again. Gunn says that, hey, I have this philosophy of I don't greenlight anything where the script isn't completed and done and it's good. So That's obviously a factor. But basically what he was saying is there have been changes. We had a basic plan. We announced a slate, but they've always been open about the idea that things might change, move around. Some things were forced by not the pandemic, but the strikes that happened a couple of years ago in Hollywood. We saw how that affected several of the projects. Peacemaker season 2 came out before Waller, and we don't know where Waller is now in production or in it's definitely not in production, but like where in pre-production or development it is. So it looks like James Gunn is, pretty comfortable with that idea, and he's just explaining that out, and then he's reaffirming the fact the plan was more or less a 10-year plan, and that the bigger picture, the bigger story still is the same, despite the fact that some things are being moved around, some things are on the shelf, some things are, some new things have been brought in. John, are you, surprised, I guess is the word, to hear this?
As the days go by, I'm not, because I feel like, and I think a friend of mine said this, and I agree, that the initial announcement felt like more of like a stockholder board of directors thing. Like, this is the stuff that's definitely happening. Be excited, guys. Make sure we raise those stock prices so we look nice in the stock market, blah, 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 and like that kind of thing. But I don't think James Gunn was ever comfortable with making that announcement. They shouldn't have made that announcement, but I think it was like a stockholder thing. I think they saw that the year ahead of them, which was 2023, which was like DC's worst fucking year ever because nothing made a profit that year. So I think they saw what was on the horizon, and they're like, okay, let's try to like boost like our margins, our stock numbers, and all that with this announcement, and then see if that we can like get through the year with that. And that's my thing. So I don't think James Gunn was ever like kind of comfortable. I think I'm willing to bet that Zaslav was like, what do you have? What projects have he's like, well, we have this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing. Okay, cool. We're gonna make an announcement. You're gonna talk about them. It's gonna be this, that, and the other thing. Boom. We got to get this shit out so we can maybe make money next year, hopefully. And so, I think it was just purely like for money reasons or like board reasons.
Marketing.
Marketing,
David
that
Zaslav
kind of
has
shit.
been borrowing heavily from the Disney Marvel playbook in the way he's gone about setting up the DCU and DC studios. So
yeah, so that's my theory, and this aligns perfectly with that. So
absolutely. Well, the Watcher is saying in the chat that according to their sources, a year ago I said that Gunn will be heavily inspired by the Neil Adams Batman, like exactly what he said in this video, which is the podcast. You can see the full podcast. I think it was YMH Studios, was it? So you guys can go check out James Gunn's appearance on that podcast later on. But all right, John, let's keep on going here, because now we got to get into some Batman related quick hits, and then we got some Superman quick hits afterwards. So we're going to try to get through these a little bit faster. But the very first thing that we're going to dive into, James Gunn was talking about Batman, and I guess the character of Batman as a whole, and the legacy of the character. And this was from Batman Day, which was on Saturday, guys. So we hope that you took some time to enjoy some Batman stories. Warner Brothers had like a special YouTube live stream running with all the iconic scenes from Batman movies and TV shows, including the Adam West and the Christian Bale one, and even the Ben Affleck one and stuff. James Gunn, of course, gave this monologue on the legacy of Batman over the weekend, saying there's something about Batman that makes him so beloved across the entire world. A tragic story that is being transformed into something good, or is it that Batman has attracted some of the greatest artists in all mediums that have told a story about this character, and because of that, his legend has grown and grown? I think the answer is both. John, clearly James Gunn has a reverence for the character. He seems to be sort of almost, when he's talking about him, exploring the idea of like, what makes Batman so great? Maybe it's the fact that some of the best people in the world and what they do have worked on telling Batman stories. Maybe is, the idea that this is a tragic story where you see somebody who's broken as a kid turn things around and put his rage towards, justice and stuff. Everything we know about Batman. So your thoughts on this?
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course you'd say that Bane will break you. Of course you're going to say that. We're not going to expect you to say, strange apparitions now, will you?
Yeah. So with that, let's move on to the next.
Not saying that's a bad thing, by the way. Nightfall is pretty great.
It's a good comic.
I've read of it, so
Let's keep on going because we got other Batman stuff to talk about.
And remember,
Batman from all sides.
It sucks. Anyway, move on.
We actually also got our first look at the Batman the Animated Series costume.
Oh, come on. I think it's a
Batman
10
game.
out of 10 aura. Come on now.
I love the look of this costume. Of course, it's a Lego Batman costume.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's interesting. Dan,
no.
What do you have to say about that?
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's The Dark Knight is a better movie. Superman's pal. Since you're Superman's pal, you probably don't know much about the Bat from Gotham. So let's keep on going here.
But yeah, this looks great. Love to see it. Really awesome. I can't wait for this game. Just perfect. Anyway, but speaking of Batman, we have this little ditty that people keep making DC Studios logos.
It's the same dude. It's the same dude. DGMENG.
I'm saying he made another one.
Yeah, he made another one. DJ Khaled.
Another. We got to add that sound effect.
We definitely have to add that sound. That's gotta.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Anyway, it's gonna be peak. It's gonna be peaker than peak.
It's gonna be uber peak. By the way, we don't have any news, unfortunately, on the Nightfall movies. So
I didn't even know there was gonna be movies, but
keep an eye out. We'll keep an eye out for that, I should say. I do. We look so far. We've only gotten Superman, so I don't know. But the fact that
I don't think we're gonna get anything in regards to like, you know,
intros?
Other heroes. He just said there's
nice.
Superman is the MGM Lion. Come on now.
Yeah, but it's kind of a bad analogy because it's not like there was an MGM Lion franchise. You know what I mean? Like I like these logos. They give something unique.
But
to
I
DC
think like
Marvel doesn't do. Or
it's
like
extra money that like.
Extra money? Are you kidding me? This guy's doing it. He does it in After Effects. He's mentioned how he does it, even his techniques. So, Marco, thank you. You're not gonna get under my skin with that. I like both movies. But yeah, I mean, the dude is doing it in After Effects. They can figure this shit out. I think he meant more like they didn't want to do a big fanfare with a 3D animated intro like what they did for a while with Marvel Studios. But, I understand that.
Digimang. Oh, fuck off. Digimang is the guy who does this.
Yeah, Digimang. Just hire him. He's already doing the work. I mean, come on. It's right there. Remember they did the one for Captain Midnight as well? That was nice. So
no, not Captain. It was Midnighter. Captain Midnight is a golden age public domain hero. And you're thinking of the YouTuber. There is a YouTuber named
Never
Captain
mind. I'm thinking. Yes, you're right. Midnighter. Yeah, from The Authority. That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Anyway. Yep. Moving on. But apparently,
no, you're not wrong, Monique. You're not wrong. But I mean, like, it's not like they were making lion movies. Anyway, we're on the same page. Let's keep on going, John.
Well, here it is. What do you have to say about this?
Brave and the Bold script is really good, but not done, says James Gunn. Cool. I feel like that's a pretty non-update. I mean, we've heard him say it's not. It's really well. I guess he didn't say it was really good. Every time he's talked about it before, he said it's a work in progress. So I suppose
that's close. Maybe it's like there's like a rough draft or like draft 1 or that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's close. They're probably just working on the climax. So there you go. I'll try to sneak one in there. Just trying to sneak one in there.
Anyway, speaking of sneaking one in, hey, look, it's Matt Reeves.
Let's listen to him. Let's listen to the whole thing.
So Dan has the real clip. Hang on. Let's get that. We'll add this.
Wanted in the movies to make sure that, let's say we get to make 3, and I have no idea, but if we get to make 3, I always wanted the movies to be focused on his character, to never, a lot of the other films, which I love, when you get
overwhelmed by.
Well, once you get past the origin tale, which we didn't quite do, but we did something that referred to his origins, then you start telling the Rogues Gallery story and that character's sort of arc. And I never wanted to lose Rob at the center of these stories, and so that is really what we set our aim on. And so picking the right villain that digs into what that does, that sort of goes into his past and his life, that was what drove that sort of discussion, and I won't tell you where we ended up, but we're super excited about it. And I will say, it's never really been done in a movie before, so we're excited, yeah.
Okay, that's fucking interesting, Mr. I'm gonna fucking trilogy, and now he's not sure if the fucking 3rd movie's coming out. Maybe he realized that it takes half a decade for him to fucking make a movie, that he's like, maybe not, who knows? So it's like, All right. Well, there goes that.
Yep. I mean, we were all speculating. I mean, Robert Pattinson's gonna be what, like 42 by the time this next one comes out. The dude's gonna be like the oldest Batman ever, playing the youngest Batman, one of the youngest Batman ever, on the big screen. It's just eventually Robert Pattinson will start to show his age. Like Tom Cruise eventually went over that cliff, and now he looks like old.
He literally went over a cliff. So
that is true. That's probably what added to it. It certainly was not helping. Was he doing it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was. I guess he was.
It's funny because Mattson Tomlin was literally doing another project.
He was. Remember,
and it's just like he did Terminator Zero, which I heard was very good. I still need to fucking watch it, but like it's just so funny that he literally worked on another project in the meantime. Matt Reeves didn't work on anything yet. It took him like fucking forever to make the script. I get it. Shit happens, but like, goddamn, bro.
I mean, look, I think it all depends on your definition of shit, because there is that animated Batman show on Amazon Prime.
I mean, that probably was like, hey, Matt Reeves, does this look good? And he's like, yeah, sure, that's great. I have a script to slowly write one letter a day. Anyway,
not like James Gunn. He writes like 10 pages a day. Is that that's what he said, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, for you guys talking about how Robert Pattinson doesn't look his age, I'm not saying he does now. I'm just saying Tom Cruise didn't.
I mean, the gray hair will eventually get there.
Yeah, like, it's just like, like I need some like something for my hero, and I can tell you that I don't need to look 30 to be 30. Anyway, but the point is, Robert Pattinson will eventually start to show his age, and I'm not saying like that's an impossible problem to solve with today's technology, VFX or SFX, but it's the whole idea. Like he can't take another 5 years to make a third Batman movie, right? Because the second one comes out in 2027. If that's another 5 years, it's 2032. That's too long. That's just simply too long. And it seems like they've changed the direction of the movie a little bit, but I can't imagine they're skipping like 5 years of time. So like you're gonna have to explain that away somehow. Like when Christopher Nolan did it, he did each movie 4 years apart, 4 or 5 years apart.
Well, Dark Knight.
The first one was 3 years.
Dark Knight Rises took like 8 years was in between them. So
yeah, like it was 3 years and then 4 years. The passage of time between the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises was like 8 years, I think, canonically within the story. So I mean, you can always age up an actor. It's harder to age them down. Just ask. Well, unless you were Sylvester Stallone, and then he thinks
we don't talk about.
He could play a 16 or 18-year-old as a Rambo for an origin story. That's something. So, well, my skincare. Yeah, you know what? This lighting is not flattering, but yes, I thank you, Monique. I'm glad you think so. Filmology is here. We're getting a separate Batman and Superman movie in the same year. Let's go! DC fans are eating good in 2027, and Marvel is releasing Secret Wars in 2027 too. What?
If they don't get bought out.
You mean DC, right? Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Anyway, speaking of stroking, Elite DZ, but next thing we got, let's talk about Superman. Fucking enough with this Batman shit. Let's talk about Superman. Fuck this Batman crap. I'm just kidding. But no, Danielle, no.
Where's Caleb when you need him? Where's Caleb?
But I know he's a busy boy, so that's okay. But this is showing off the Superman Steelbook. Thank you. The Superman Steelbook that was, you can't get it anymore. This was like a limited edition, like many
this was
moons ago.
Moons, exactly. I was gonna say the same.
So I'm sure it is. But yeah, so this is showing off the very
breaking records Batman #1.
Also I love the Norman Bates Psycho. I hate Funko Pops, but like gotta love Psycho. Oh, Tombstone.
They're like $15. That's like crack. Like once you buy one, you will buy more.
Tombstone as well. Jaws, right? Man, this person's based. Hell yeah. But here it is, looking pretty fucking fine. But that's a sexy looking steelbook. And they're probably like for like $500 on like fucking eBay right now. So
probably.
Yeah, but like Snyder, had to get through it quickly. All right, guys, we gotta pump this shit out. Oh no, and then that.
Although I will
don't like,
say
I don't like
that
Funko
Zack
Pops.
Snyder,
They fucking annoy me.
I will say this though, guys. The take of the version, the take of the line Kal-El know that Zack Snyder used in his version of Justice League is not the same take from the Joss Whedon edition of the movie, the theatrical version. If you put them side by side, there is a slight difference. So those are two different takes, but I guess one of them was probably the best available option. So, or at least for both directors, they chose what they thought was best. So anyway. It looks cool, dude. I am kind of jealous I didn't get this because I was looking at these photos and I'm like, I would love to get my hands on, especially the glass-looking like thing that was. Yeah, I was like, oh, that looks so nice. I'm sure I paid a pretty penny for it.
As fuck. I'm curious. I would never get it because they're probably super fucking expensive. But I'm just curious. Superman 4K Steelbook on eBay.
CBS Funko. That's the idea, Dark Elite Eric. They're not meant to look for that. You would have to go.
The cheapest one I'm looking at is like about $83. No, there's one for 62, but that's bidding. But yeah, for the cool, sexy steelbook that you see here, it's about $84. So if you got money to spend, and Dan, maybe I could put it on my invoice and maybe get one, but we'll just have to see. But
you can put it on your invoice. I'll fund that purchase.
But yeah, this is a sexy looking steelbook if I ever saw one. And yeah, good stuff. I think it's both 4K and Blu-ray if I remember correctly.
You get the 4K version of Blu-ray and you get a regular HD Blu-ray.
And
you can't play this for too long. But
well, I'm not even gonna play it. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through.
John, remember when they did that whole ad with crypto? What was it? What was the dog? Milkbone. And they had this the shots, and we saw it behind the scenes too. They were filming this in Cleveland. You had Mr. Terrific and he could take you like running on the street, like trying to get crypto to do something with his favorite snacks. It turns out they cut that whole scene out because I was wondering, like, it's not in the movie, and you could tell here all the VFX in the background are not complete. So it looks like James Gunn probably cut this out pretty early before they did any VFX work outside of
and you could see I'm gonna do this because if you remember when he's like brain over brawn and then he calls crypto, that's where this scene they took it from here, where he pops up with the thing in his the toys in his mouth was part of this scene. So that's very interesting.
Like they took that shot. I think they were like, okay, we don't need this scene. It's not that essential. Like we can, like people can figure out how Mr. Terrific may have gone up there. Or I think the next time we see him, like he is like like crypto does eventually bring him like on his back, or like he's sort of hanging on to him, right? Like so we do get all the pieces.
Well, that was
we just
coming
don't
out of the Pocket universe. Quit messing around like that's
okay. Right. Okay, yep, that's fair. Yeah. Yes, Jose, we were actually just talking about Tom Segura's podcast. I mean, I think that was the story from a few minutes ago about the 10-year plan and how things are changing. It's James Gunn did talk about that. If you missed that part, you're welcome to rewind, and then I'm sure we'll touch upon it again in the future. But this is fun. I mean, hey, it's a good deleted scene if you can get past the background VFX of the buildings crashing that Superman is trying to save people from under. That whole bridge sequence. I think the reason why they
I love the comments too.
I think the reason why they cut this is because it just takes away from the momentum of those sequences to just add some funny.
You needed to have a brisker pace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all good.
No worries.
All good.
You're good. Don't be upset.
No, I'm not putting you down. I mean, if you guys ever feel like you missed something, you're always welcome to let us know. And then, if you did miss it,
there is something I actually saw on my timeline that I wanted to insert here. Obviously, it's a clip and we can't play it, but I found something that I think people would appreciate. So we're gonna get into that soon. But of course, talking about more deleted scene stuff. This is also it was the Instagram on Insta.
All the special features of the Blu-ray when you get it on the 23rd of September,
which is
that
today,
literally
for
now.
people on the East Coast and further. So, hell yeah,
absolutely.
Release
the crypto cut.
Release the crypto cut, but you know, that's okay. We don't judge grammar here. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Crypto. I like Crypto. That's the Crypto's Earth X cousin, I suppose. We'll see. Yeah, the bite-in scream is goofy. The whole sequence, I feel like, again, they just didn't include it because it was like, it totally breaks the momentum of what's going on. It's that it would have been like a bad Marvel kind of a
Surprise
joke.
Mr. Perfect still walking.
Yeah,
yeah. After
enough.
fucking, engineer yeeted his ass, but yeah, okay, that's
that
cool.
looked bad. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Dan.
Mm.
I'm sick of talking about these shitty ass quick hits. We got something more meatier to talk about, something more intellectual, just something that's a little bit better here. I think we got to talk about not today, not yesterday, but tomorrow, and it's specifically a man that represents tomorrow. Who would that be? Well, we got to figure that out. But our boy James Gunn did finally release a little bit here in regards to the Man of Tomorrow. Not Superman Man of Tomorrow, just Man of Tomorrow. And what do we see here, Dan? What do we see here?
I don't know. If you zoom into this, we can.
Well, let's get the high res image. It's a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
We got a little bit better. We got to open a new tab, and
I feel like, John, if you look at this Man of Tomorrow script cover page, clearly that looks like a non-human brain. I mean, there's certainly less brain matter. I don't know. Like, that doesn't look like your traditional human brain. That seems to be something else going on in there, or maybe something in addition to what a human brain usually has going on in there. And I believe we have a character in the Superman mythos that might fit the description, John. Is this Brainiac confirmed? I mean, are we going with just
the
something
brain is
that
not
obvious?
Enough. That's just your inner cheek. That's all. That's just the cheek.
Yeah,
looks kind of
but not even that. I mean, if you look at the upper part, where the gray matter usually, the rest of it, the main part of the brain, there seems to be stuff missing. I mean, or like there's like metal implant. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But here's the thing: in terms of this, could be like confirming Brainiac, and I would love more than anything to have Brainiac as the main villain of this movie, and it makes the most sense. However, I think this just means Lex Luthor's intellect. I don't think James Gunn would drop that much of a huge fucking bomb if he didn't plan 6 steps ahead. So I personally think, Lex Luthor is the smartest man in the one of the smartest men in the DC universe, the smartest man in the at least on planet Earth, at least how it's shown here. So this could just mean it's just Lex Luthor and his intellect, brain over brawn, how he said that in the previous film. I hate to put a damper on anyone's parade, but I'm just trying to be realistic here, and I don't want to get my hopes up. I would love Brainiac. That's what this, it's potentially confirming it is, but I agree with M2G. I think it's just Lex. I agree.
I will say this though, when
agreeing with me, I think it's just Lex.
Here's what I will say. So when I saw this first, I saw it on Threads, which is where we're looking at this. And my very first reaction before I got the whole, Brainiac, like I saw it in the comments, I saw this post, I just saw James Gunn's post in my Threads feed, and I said, Man of Tomorrow, we know Lex Luthor's going to be in there. This head is bald, like this anatomy photo. I thought Lex Luthor. That was literally my first reaction before I even thought of it. Then I was like, oh, you know what? It could be Brainiac, because then I looked at the details of of the image, and
but I don't think it's a non-human brain. I think it's just
well, I'm just saying it's the whole thing of James Gunn likes to tease, but then again, it's like, are we overthinking it?
Is like,
are we overthinking
I don't think that the non-human brain thing holds up, because I think it's just the middle of the brain, because we have the whole like inner matter part that we don't see, because we only see a picture of a whole brain where we just see the pink shit all around it. So like, it's, I want to believe, much like the X-Files, I want to believe it is in fact Brainiac. I want to believe, but I'm thinking, I don't think James Gunn would drop that big of a bomb so soon. So, I just think maybe it is just a tease, and James Gunn likes to just be a little cock tease like he always is, but I don't think it's Brainiac. I want it to be Brainiac, but I don't think he's gonna, at least maybe not right now. I don't think he's teasing Brainiac. It's entirely possible that he is the villain, but I don't think this specific image is teasing Brainiac. I think it's just teasing Lex Luthor. And that he is going to play a major role and all that, just confirming he's playing a major role. So
fair enough. I mean, I hope that they don't jump the gun and get to Brainiac this quickly. But here's my theory. If it is not Brainiac that is the villain, if that's not what this is hinting at, I think they might be taking the whole Thanos route to Brainiac. And in that case, this could be just, it's Lex Luthor, but then at the end of the movie, we get our first look at Brainiac and a tease, and then that takes us to potentially a third movie where Justin Geeky Guy, thank you for your super chat saying, hear me out, James Gunn should have either Darkseid or Mongol as the main villain for the third Superman film. So you could go in that direction. I mean, John, what do you think about that theory?
Mongol, yes. Darkseid, no. I will say that. Darkseid is too soon. But I will say this. This is the anatomy of a human brain, by the way. And look at the picture here. Actually, let's look at it here. This is, this is the boop, boop. I don't know. It's looking pretty fucking similar to me. This is a human brain. This is also a human brain. It looks very similar to me. The art is different, but it's the same fucking thing. It's a human fucking brain. Don't fucking at me, all right? I passed fucking biology. Come on now. Get that the fuck out of here. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway. Don't Thanos the DCU. But what about Batman? Could the movie go without a Batman cameo at least? Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a Batman cameo.
Yeah, I think so. Can you do that in the Sylvester Stallone voice, John?
What?
Brain.
Right. Oh.
Brain.
Anyway.
The age. 16-year-old Rambo. I'm just kidding. Okay, that's too far. Show the whole spinal, John. I don't know what that will do.
I'm trying to find one with the spinal.
What difference does that make?
I'm trying to prove a point here, Dan. God damn.
I'm just saying, Jalen's like, I don't, I don't got biology. I got family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
There's the fucking spinal, you goddamn asshole. There and there. It looks pretty fucking similar to fucking me. Goddamn. Jesus Christ. Fucking pain in my ass.
Yikes. I mean, look, I'm not disagreeing with you in that sense, because I definitely think that there's a lot of people reading too far into it. So let's not get our hopes too high.
Well, we're pretty much almost done, Watcher, so you're good.
Yeah.
We got like 5 more minutes. I still have one more thing we want to show outside of the whole Man of Tomorrow announcement. Is the blooper reel. Somebody posted
I didn't
the
even see
blooper
this.
reel.
Okay,
I just found it on my Facebook. Obviously, we can't show a lot of it because we'll get demonetized. But this went viral a little bit, like a couple of weeks back, where Alan Tudyk improvised the line with "So is Gary," and it's just like fucking David Cornswell just fucking loses it.
Yeah, laughing.
Where he's just like, 4 is the name, and then no.
No,
And then he's just like fucking absolutely loses it. And then just going through various scenes. You got perfect Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. We got
what is that, Blue Steel? Is that
yeah, it looks like Blue Steel or LT Gray right there. And then we got, there we go. Just a lot of really funny scenes, perfect blooper stuff. Amazing.
Yeah, Jalen loves gag reels. Yep.
Who doesn't love gag reels? Goddamn Mr. Terrific right here. And the Rizzler himself, Jimmy Olsen.
Right, that's Jimmy Olsen's third leg somewhere in there.
Yep. And then, I don't know, just...
Oh my God. I swear that actor played Einstein.
And then here he is aura farming. There it is. We'll just end it there. But yeah, just very fun. Who doesn't love a good blooper reel? How to serve brains. Yes.
In that case, it will be Brainiac. But hey, look, I like I said, John, it's that photo on the cover of the script. It's intentional. James Gunn knows this is just walking the line between Brainiac or Lex, because he knows. James Gunn knows we're all gonna jump to the Lex Luthor, well, not the Lex Luthor conclusion. Some people did, but it's gonna be Brainiac. Oh, it's gonna be Brainiac. He knows the fandom too well to not wind us up like this, by accident.
Like a simple wind-up toy.
Yeah, that all of us are. But quick question. I think this is a good one to wrap it on, John. Like, what makes more, Man of Tomorrow or the Batman Part 2? Since they're both coming out the same year, and both of them have a movie that's come out before that has made like a good $600 to $700 million. Who's winning the box office battle for DC in 2027?
Who's winning? The Bat of Gotham or the something of Krypton? I forget what the fucking line was.
The Son of Krypton.
Son of Krypton.
Bat of Gotham. The last Son of Krypton. The Bat of Gotham. I just love bringing people together. So, what was it? No, that was a different thing. That was at the party. Anyway. You didn't answer the question, though.
What was the question again?
Who's gonna? That's the brain of Bruce Wayne. Who's gonna win? Which movie's gonna do better? Filmology is asking.
Oh, the Batman, easily. You fucking kidding me? It's
Actually, you're the one. In a year that Secret Wars comes out, you remember John's hot take was that the Batman Part 2 is gonna be the highest grossing movie of 2027.
Yeah.
Gross more than Avengers Secret Wars.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're gonna need to bring back we would not bring back. We're gonna need
but
to
I
do
also
the hot
did
take
say,
segment on
and
Wednesday.
I also did say, if you remember that, it depends how much Doomsday makes and how good it is.
Okay, yeah, but you just said that after.
Because here's
the
the thing:
beginning. I was
we
like,
know these are all sequels. These are all sequels, but we know what we know about the Batman. The Batman. It was very well received and it made a good amount of money. Superman, very well received, made a good amount of money. So they're going to make a lot of money. And now Secret Wars, that's the only one where the predecessor has not come out yet. So we have to wait for Doomsday to see if
no
we are
Avengers
going to be
made less than $1 billion. I think the lowest might be like 1.3, 1.4. Like Avengers: Age of Ultron is the lowest grossing Avengers movie. I'm just saying, like the floor is much higher for an Avengers movie today than even for we have had $2 billion Batman movies, including the very first superhero movie to make $1 billion, The Dark Knight. But we haven't had a Batman movie make $1 billion in like over a decade and a half. So if Brainiac, there you go. If to bring it full circle, Bane, if it is Brainiac featured in Man of Tomorrow, maybe that will put it over the edge. So, and until then, we'll just have to wait and find out. Maybe we'll do a hot take debate on Wednesday's show. We'll ask you guys for your hot takes. John's hot take is that Batman 2 will make the most money in 2027 of any superhero movies. Do you agree or do you disagree? Are you happy about that take? Are you sad about that take? Do you care? Do you not care? Let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, with that, John, like you said, that brings us to a close. And I think it's been a fun show. You guys have been active. You guys have been chatty. You guys have kept us busy and kept us awake, and we have kept you awake and entertained, hopefully. But with that, hit that like button on the way out.
Get that the fuck out of here, Elite Easy. Get that the fuck out of here.
Age of Ultron has gotten better for me over time on more rewatches. I will say that. If you guys are new, by the way, hit subscribe. We do this 5 days a week, and tomorrow we got Tier List Tuesday. So DCU Daily.
Batman actors. Yeah, that's what it is.
Batman actors. Speaking of Batman, that's what we'll be doing. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, or night, depending on when you're watching. And don't forget to leave your comments down below. We'll bring those in for a Friday Q&A segment on DCU Daily. Until then, John, what are we from the start?
Blessed. Hashtag blessed.
From the beginning.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Honka honka.
Fuck Jeff Snyder.